what it must be like if you saw this thing in real life. You'd be like, oh my goodness, the thing is so thick and wide and V-shaped and no neck and just gigantic.
Yeah, well, I've had a number of people through the years that say it was looking at a barn door. Now, around here, Kev, I haven't seen too many barn doors, but I have seen some.
You got a lot of barn doors in your neighborhood.
Yeah. And, man, I've never seen a small-looking barn door.
No.
So they're kind of
You got to get horses and cows through them typically, and that's pretty big.
Right. Or even back a pickup truck into it to, take something off of it or, whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, great stuff, man. So
yeah, so that's super cool. So I definitely want to go see this museum when I'm out in Colorado, which is a place I get to frequent pretty regularly. So folks, if you're listening, you will see me out there. All right, and our next story is an account, Bill, that I came across in north central Ohio. Mm-hmm. Which is a bit of a hotbed, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it was published in a publication called the Richland Source, so Richland, Ohio.
Okay.
And this came out on May 20th of this year, so not that long ago.
No.
And the headline is Bigfoot, with a question mark, woman reports Sasquatch encounter outside a gym in Ashland, Ohio.
Huh.
Yeah.
Jeez, maybe he was coming there to work out.
Hey, you don't get that big by accident. He's not sitting on the couch.
Get off the bench.
Some iron. I think you've done enough sets. My turn. Lay down, I'll pick you up.
Yeah, I pick things up and I put things down.
Let me do some human curls with you.
Oh, my goodness. All right, so let's hear it.
So listen to this. So this woman, 20 years old, walked out of the warehouse 24-hour gym around midnight after completing her workout. She turned to the right and headed to her car in a well-lit parking lot. There were no other vehicles in that lot on the side of the building, and that place, they say, was opened in 2018, for what that's worth.
Uh-huh.
But she was reportedly not alone on this cool, clear spring night.
Wow.
She heard a twig snap. She looked and saw a creature 7 or 8 feet tall, covered in gray fur, racing back into the woods about 30 yards away.
Wow, racing away from her.
Yes.
Wow.
So she startled it when she came out of the gym.
Yeah. That's
which
interesting.
Is reasonable at midnight, and it said that her car was the only one out there.
Yeah, and it also shows that these things don't necessarily want anything to do with you. And again, my opinion being it depends which one you meet.
Well, true.
So this one hightailed it out of there when he saw her coming.
Yep, absolutely. And she said it was far too large, likely several hundred pounds. Again, these estimates, right, Bill?
Right.
She said it was gigantic, several hundred pounds for sure. Mm-hmm. And it moved too quickly to be a man, she said.
Wow.
So again, that stride and speed comes into play.
Yeah. I mean, I was just, I'm going through some of the accounts over and over again in Volume 9, which hopefully I'll be releasing soon. And one of the guys in there described when he saw this thing running after some elk, by the way, he described it as like that of an Olympic hurdler. Ooh. It had the appearance of 30 or 40 mile an hour speed, and he said it looked more like it was gliding than running, that it was off the ground so much during the pursuit.
Wow.
That's pretty bizarre,
Very bizarre.
Yeah.
So, she was shaken, excuse me, and in tears after seeing it, and she called her parents from a nearby restaurant and asked them to come and drive her home.
Wow.
Amazing, right?
Yeah, I mean, she must have ran back inside after that and said, I'm not even going to, you don't know what to do.
You don't know what to do.
Yeah.
See this giant gray furry creature hoofing it off into the woods at midnight.
Boy. Good grief. Talk about fumbling for your keys in the door.
Yeah, I bet if she tried to take some video of it, she would have been shaking too.
No, everybody's steady.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Everybody's rock steady in the heat of the moment.
But pretty awesome little sighting, right, Bill? And it's in north central Ohio, which is definitely a bit of a hotbed.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going around out there, and I encourage all the listeners to contact us. You don't have to be afraid of us. And we relish the contact via our link, bigfootterrorinthewoods.com. And if you've seen something, say something. I don't care where you are, who you are, if you want to be known, if you don't want to be known. But it is in the sharing of the information that the story and the investigation continues, whatever it is you've seen.
Yeah. And everybody wants to hear these accounts. Like if you're there in Ashland, Ohio, you want to know that somebody saw the hairy man outside this gym.
Yeah. Well, we had that guy a couple of weeks ago, Kev, right? That wrote in after he heard the Turner Falls account.
Exactly.
And said that
Oklahoma.
he goes there regularly or something like that.
Yeah.
So I've had numerous people, and Kev, reading the emails that have said, I go to that place. I was there at that lake. I live, my house is, 2 miles away from that location, and that's the way it is,
Yeah, by the way, folks, just looking out for my own tail here, I'm going up to New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. I'm going to be doing a lot of hiking outside, sleeping outside in about a few weeks. So if you know of any creatures up there that you've seen lately, please tell me.
Yeah. And you know what, Kev? Definitely bring some plaster in case you find some anything worthy of casting.
I thought you were going to tell me to bring extra 5.56 and 9mm.
Well, you better have that anyway. If I have to tell you that, I don't know what to say.
Good point.
Yeah,
I'll bring some plaster too.
Yeah, I got a feeling you're going to run across something. I just have a hunch.
All right, I'm going to have to go to the range Monday night, sharpen up again. You got all these like human template targets. They know me at the range because I'm like, you got any Bigfoot targets there? How about a hairy man? You got a hairy man?
How about something that fights back?
Can you make the target speed towards me and growl?
Oh my goodness, man.
They're like, that KJ is here again.
Yeah, we got to put up with him. Really, I don't, Kev, I just don't think that people have any concept of what a close encounter with a Bigfoot may be like when they go out there marching around looking for these things.
No.
And the realist in me tells me, like I've said before, if this thing turns on you, your ass is grass and he's the lawnmower. So
I would like to see one, but I'd prefer to see one if I was in my truck.
Yeah.
And it was like, a couple of 100 feet away walking across the road or something like that.
Yeah, well,
that would be my best, sighting of it. But coming around a turn on a trail, 5 miles away from anyone else and seeing the hairy man in front of you that's 8 feet tall and weighs 1,000 pounds? Ugh.
Yeah, well, I have an account in Volume 9 of a policeman whose beat in the year 2000 was up in Washington State. And he had said, of course, like I'm telling you something you don't know, he was riding down a lot of really dark and unlit roads, even going from location to location or looking for stranded travelers, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
He had this Bigfoot. He didn't know it was a Bigfoot initially. He saw something stepping out ahead of him as he was cruising through this woods. He started to break, threw his high beams on, and realized immediately he was looking at the side profile of a giant Sasquatch. He put the brakes on completely, now standing off with the creature with the high beams on. He's alone in the car. And he said the creature never looked at him. It never turned to give him a face shot, but rather stood profile and then walked across the street into the woods. And, when you guys have a chance to pick up Volume 9 when it comes out, you can read the whole Megillah. But he said that it changed his life in such a way that he wished it never happened. And a lot of people have said that. What you think is cool may turn around on you, because he said it kind of loused him up that he's not comfortable doing a lot of the little leisurely things that he used to do.
Sure.
So he saw this.
It's not unlike if you're into surfing or spending a lot of time in the ocean like me, and then if somebody next to you gets attacked by a big shark or something, that would scare the bejesus out of you.
Yeah,
not just then.
Yeah, because what's lurking in there or hidden.
Yeah, well, it's their environment.
Right.
Same thing.
What if?
Yeah.
Wow, that's freaking some crazy stuff.
So we had the entertaining with the Bigfoot in a crate and the creepy with the Bigfoot outside of the Ashland, Ohio gym fitness facility.
Wow, I mean, it just shows you. I don't know what Ashland, Ohio is like, the layout of the land. But there's got to be some forest and woods and whatnot around there.
Oh, yeah. I never heard of it. And in fact, when I first read it, I thought that they were talking about Ashland, Oregon, which I've been to multiple times. So I thought it was Ashland, Oregon. And then I had to read it carefully. And I was like, oh, Ashland, Ohio. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And Oregon. Let me say that again. Oregon. Just to annoy, some of our listeners. You know how I like to scooch people when I say Oregon.
Nails on a chalkboard.
Well, let me say this, brother. I have an interesting sighting / encounter here, brought to me by a fellow named Doug Gould, a resident of the state of Illinois. And this is what Doug had to share. In 1979, I received a full scholarship to attend university in West Virginia. At that time in my life, I hadn't even ventured past the borders of Illinois. I was chomping at the bit to taste a little freedom, so I eagerly went to West Virginia for my studies. In my second year, I requested a change in dorm room with a new student who I was sharing my room with, not exactly being the studious type, if you understand where I'm coming from. I was granted my request to move into another dorm with a fellow who'd been staying in a room alone up until that point in time, and it was a match made in heaven. Both of us were very studious, committed to our schedules and studies, and over the course of several months, a bond was formed between us. His name was Charlie Grant, and he was the first of a family of coal miners to attend college. He was working towards a degree in education in the hope of becoming a teacher. As it turns out, Charlie had a fairly good-sized family, all of whom lived within a 100-mile radius of the campus. and it became a regular happening for me to tag along